Good evening and welcome to ATV. I'm Suad Asfour. First of all, I would like to welcome my co-host Salwa Ghamrawi. Salwa, thank you for coming back to the show. We miss you.
Thank you, and I'm very glad that I'm back.
To be back. Salwa was gone for a few months now. She's back with us on a full time with the show. Also, I have an announcement to make for Sahel Club of the Bay Area. It's about their New Year's Eve party. It says, your favorite moments from 2017 have come from Bay Area Sahel Club events. And now it's time to make one final memory to close out the year right. Join Sahel Club, join us. We raise our glass to toast the new year and to welcome 2018 at Countdown. The party will be at the Westin Hotel San Francisco Airport, same place where it was last year. And so that's on Sunday, December 31st. And it will have dinner, dance, live entertainment by super singer Wasim Rabia, with the largest band in the Bay Area, led by Maestro Radwan Shakhshir. The doors open at 8 p.m., 3 meals course dinner at 9 o'clock. Continental breakfast will be served after hour. Hope to see you there. And now it's time for me to introduce to you our guest for this evening. We have with us in the studio tonight Sally Horna. Sally was born in Peru, South America. She came to United States and raised in San Francisco area at age 3. Sally is a legal fellow for the San Francisco Bay Area Office of the Council on American Islamic Relations, CAAR or CARE, from San Francisco Bay Area. In this position, she manages cases on civil rights issues facing the American Muslim community, including employment, discrimination, immigration, free speech, law enforcement, and interaction, and other related issues. She additionally aims to work with the allies in other communities to support and advance civil rights in the American Muslim community. Sally graduated from Chapman University with a degree in sociology, and then she earned her law degree from the University of San Francisco School of Law. Before joining CARE, Sally clerked with the Lawyers Committee for Civil Rights of the San Francisco Bay Area and with the Public Advocates. Both of these nonprofit organizations inspired Sally to pursue a career in community-based direct legal services. She is here today to explain to us the mission and vision and history of the CARE chapter of San Francisco Bay Area. Outside the CARE San Francisco Bay Area, Sally enjoys reading, baking pastries, keeping up with the pop culture, and she loves dancing. Welcome to the show, Sally.
Hi, thank you for having me.
Well, I have so much in common with you, especially the dancing part. Sally, tell us, why did you choose to become in the legal services, and why did you want to become an attorney?
So actually, I've had this desire to be a lawyer since I was in kindergarten, which seems like a cliche answer, but my mom and I were she was walking me to kindergarten, which was only about a mile away from school, and a dog attacked us. Okay. And so we went to court, and I, as a 5-year-old, had to serve as one of the witnesses, and so I was explaining what happened and how I felt, and I was, very scared and all these things. And in the end, we obviously won that case because my mother was injured. And essentially, I realized that being an attorney and being in the legal field was a lot like tattletelling for adults. Okay. And so part of me was like, yeah, that's great. I want to do that. And so that's kind of why I started to want that career. And then I've never really changed paths. I never wanted to do anything else. Although I will say that if I had to choose another career, for whatever reason, I want to try to either be a comedian, but that's a lot of work that I can't invest in right now. But that would be the alternative career for me.
So you basically removed all fears by going to court when you were 4 years old.
Yeah, about.
And standing in front of a judge and speak out. And that gave you the motivation to become, all your life you were thinking that you will be an attorney?
Yeah, since that day.
And never changed your mind?
No. And I'm very fortunate in that, in knowing that and wanting that, because in college I saw a lot of my classmates and friends struggle to figure out what they wanted to do. You know, a lot of them said, I'm doing this major, but I don't know what that means down the road. So it was really nice to continue through life and through my journey in education, knowing that that was never a question I had to figure out for myself. I always knew the next move was, you know, college and then law school and then, you know, studying and then becoming an attorney. So I'm very, very lucky to have that very straight path into that, because I know a lot of other people were not, kind of didn't have that same path. Yeah,
that's true. Okay, so you were born in South America, but now you work for CARE, which is, can you tell us why did you choose to work for CARE?
Yeah, absolutely. So at first, the reason I wanted to work at CARE was because it was a job that was hiring in the legal field, and it touched on a lot of the things that I wanted in a job. So it touched on constitutional right issues, which was one of my favorite subjects in law school, was constitutional law. It also had a lot of community involvement, which in my work experience was something that I really wanted to bring in all my career, or in all the jobs that I would have in my career, being very community based, and just knowing that it was impacting and was helping a community that was impacted at the time. It was very needed. Help. Yeah, and so, you know, that was the first reason that I wanted to work there. And then as soon as I got in, and I was, you know, asked to join the team, part of my desire to, you know, continue working and why I enjoy my job so much right now is really that the people that respond, sometimes we are the first people that they turn to. You know, if something happens at an airport, or they're you know, approached by the FBI, the first thing they do is they call us, you know, either talk to the parents or their spouse or whatever, and then they call CARE, right? And so then our legal team is the one that does the intake, and we talk them through what happens or what happened, and then we kind of proceed with what legal issues and what steps we can take. So CARE is some legal services, some outreach, some civic engagement. So we kind of cover a lot of the bases that our Muslim community needs in the Bay Area.
Okay, I see.
Hi, Sally.
Hi.
Welcome to our show.
Thank you.
We're happy to have you tonight.
I'm very excited to be here.
I just want to know what CARE stands for. And you explained some of what you're doing, but really, can you talk more about what you really, the issue you're working on, the cases?
Yeah, definitely. So CARE is, of course, as you mentioned, the Council on American Islamic Relations, and so CARE has a lot of different programs and departments. So we have our civil rights team, which at the moment is made up of five, six.
And it's a non-profit organization.
Yes, so it is a non-profit. Yeah. So we have a legal team, a civil rights team that handles all the cases. So like I was mentioning, if people are questioned at the airport, or if an FBI or police talk to them, we kind of take those measures and we speak with the community members and kind of see if there's a legal concern that we can help them with. We also have a department for outreach. So one of our coordinators, his job is to communicate with the masajid around the Bay Area and have our team go out to masjid on Jummah, which is Friday prayer, and just be a face. So we table and we hand out flyers and we let them know that we're here, and if they have any questions to contact us. And so recently in our legal team, we opened up a division or a branch in the immigration department. So one of our attorneys now is working with she's dipping into the immigration services, and so part of our outreach too was to let the community know that we have this additional service as well. And then one of our other coordinators does the programs, so she's conducting Know Your Rights presentations, bystander trainings, which a lot of community members and non-Muslim community members in the Bay Area have also requested, because people want to know what to do in a situation where there are Islamophobic comments made to community members.
Yeah, especially these days.
Exactly, and so there's a lot of that happens, and if it does, how does a person in or out of the community respond to that?
So there is lots of need to your work, and
yeah.
you have a huge team. You're covering all the
Yes.
areas.
Yeah,
All
and
kind of needs.
all of them. And so we used to have a very small team prior to about 6 months ago. It was just a handful of staff members, and in the last month we've added about 5 or 6 more, and so our team is about 12 or so. And so in having so many people available, it also means that we can reach a lot more issues and are more available and accessible to the people that need us.
Wow, so
Wonderful.
there's big need for you guys, and
That's why they're expansion and expanding, and there's need for
Yeah.
this.
and they're all over the states now.
Right.
They have branches.
So
the chapter.
it is a double-edged sword that we exist. It's great that we exist, as an organization, to be there to help those who need us. At the same time, it's kind of it's unfortunate that the need exists. It would be nice if there weren't Islamophobic comments, if there weren't issues with within the community, but because they exist, we have to be here. And it's a little good and bad, but it's good to know that we're serving people who are impacted and who need us.
Wow, that's very good. Now, I'm sure there's more issues that we can discuss, but I wanted to ask you about the bullying in school. There's some students are facing, and we hear that all the time, bullying in school. So what kind of help the government or the legislature offer, and how do they address this problem?
So you can actually discuss it in 2 ways. So in California, there is actually legislation that requires public schools to have policies and regulations that address school bullying. So at a state level, we have those protections in place. The unfortunate circumstance now is that at a federal level, there is no federal law that requires this sort of same protection to all states. So
Not federal law.
right. So at a federal level, that's not something that is present.
Not yet, anyway.
Yeah, right. Not yet. And so what Congress can do at the moment is that there is some school bullying related acts that they can pass, which we hope they do pass, but it's not, on the books yet. But that would require public schools to have policies that address these matters, and then also report them to Congress and have just like an annual or biannual report that addresses the concerns, and kind of gives feedback about what's happening and how to better implement policies.
Wow.
So that doesn't exist yet, federal law yet. So that part of what we're doing too with part of our civic engagement is, pushing for those sorts of things too.
So they're working on it, and I'm sure we'll achieve something.
Right,
out
and
of
so
that.
what CARE does every 2 years is they have a annual report, a school bullying report, and so in that they address basically some statistics and impacts on American Muslim students' mental health, and just kind of really reveals the numbers on what that looks like. And then towards the end, there are some action items for parents, for legislators, and for educators.
Wow.
Yeah, in the past few years, it's been tough on the Muslim community.
Absolutely.
But Sally, tell me, does working for CARE change your perceptions about Muslims and Arab?
I'll say that it changed in the respect that I knew very little about the Muslim community. Part of what I explained in my interview process was that my knowledge of the Muslim community was limited. It wasn't because I didn't want to know or engage. It was not a part of the environment that I grew up in. It wasn't the spaces that I I was in. So my spaces, right, are very Latino centered, and with other people of color. But amongst those people, I was not having conversations or knowing about the issues within the Muslim community. And so so to say that it's changed would be correct, because it's changed now to being that I know more than I did before, because I knew almost about zero.
But did you have before like a negative impression or a negative image, or just like, you know,
No, I never had a negative image.
any kind of phobia, Islamophobia?
No, I didn't. And it could be that I may have had maybe some implicit bias that I didn't recognize when I was younger, right? 9/11 happened when I was in elementary school, and so a lot of the information I received was around the fear of terrorism and things of that nature. And then so just knowing that that was not true, and that the Muslim community was not tied with this same Islamophobic rhetoric was something that I had to learn, through college and through law school, just because I didn't know that from my own experience. So yeah, I didn't have a negative view so much as I just didn't know. I was very unaware of a lot of things.
But that's natural.
Yeah, I think so, right? So just part of knowing and unlearning a lot of things is a journey of growth, and what we hopefully all can achieve, and go through.
What other affiliation of nonprofit organization you affiliate with?
Myself, I haven't had a chance to really dive in too deep, but I'm trying to get a lot more involved with the Latino community. So like Latino women's organizations or groups. I know that there are some that work to just meet together, discuss as legal or non-legal professionals. And so that's kind of a organization that I do want to be more involved in. In terms of other nonprofits, I'm not all too involved. I do donate to Planned Parenthood. I donate to the ACLU sometimes. So those are some of the other organizations that I connect with to some degree. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's amazing.
What do you think, like, women need to get equality? Women are included in your services, and as a young woman like you, and a lawyer, and I guess activist. So what do you think women need these days just to get their equality?
Wow, that's a really good question. I think to my understanding, I think there are a couple of things. So first is a network of support. So support being either your friends who you discuss with and say, this is what I'm doing, this is how I'm doing, this is what I've experienced. Like let's share stories, and let's kind of grow and be together in these experiences. Along with that support is support from your other communities, so your family members, any communities that you volunteer with, communities support with your work, right? So being in a space at work where you have that liberty to speak up about something maybe that is bothersome.
Maybe speaking up.
Yeah.
So they need to be encouraged more to speak up and express themselves.
And that's tough too, because a lot of
they're
times
they're ashamed of themselves.
Right. Some people could be shy. Some people could just be nervous to address something that they think is minor. I've actually faced this too sometimes at work, in just like my experience as someone who works. Something isn't necessarily like sexist or oppressive to me, but it is something that doesn't, how do I say this? It's not like paid attention to, right? So there's a lot of roles that women naturally fall into. So for example, there's been a lot of studies where women in the work field and who work in offices will oftentimes fall into secretary roles, right? So picking up the phone, taking notes in office meetings, just because there's this sometimes natural inclination to go, well, you can take notes, right? Or you can, do this, you can fax these things, right? So sometimes that happens, and while that's not directly like a sexist thing, it is a part of our culture that it's hard to kind of pull apart from, So stuff like that is just kind of being able to recognize those things, and maybe again discussing with other people, and then trying to change those so that it doesn't exist or isn't as big of a deal anymore moving forward.
So what kind of advice you give to ladies who are, or women who are facing discrimination?
In the work field or in general? In general, I think community is a big deal. You know, finding other women who understand you, who support you, who will challenge you. There's this theory called the shine theory, where it basically says that you should surround yourself with other strong, successful, empowered women, because when you shine and you are doing all these great things, and if you're surrounded around women who are encouraging that, then you all grow and you are all shining, and then you have your moment to shine, and then next time when someone else is accomplishing something really great, you are really embracing that and trying to show love and trying to show a lot of support, and that just doing that alone builds community, but it also really breaks down this I guess like stereotype or this thought that we need to be in competition with other women.
Stereotyping.
Yeah, because it isn't always the case, and I found that I make better friends and better relationships with other women when I am able to just compliment on something or kind of connect on something instead of saying, well, why does she have this and I don't? Because there's no value in that, and you don't grow in any way by doing those things.
No, not competing or racing.
Yeah.
It's just if we support each other,
There's
in
no
whatever we do, even small steps,
Right.
and it's going to
We all
impact our
grow.
life in a positive way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then I heard, you're very proud of what you have achieved in your life, and can you tell us about your biggest achievement you're very proud of?
Yeah, so I think up until now, graduating from law school, I think has been one of my biggest achievements. My parents and I are immigrants, right, of Peru, so we're, not of this country. And just to be able to, I guess, be the one thing that my parents are most proud of, I think is something that brings me a lot of joy. I'm an only child, so I don't have, there's no one else to carry, I guess, the weight of my family's, journey. And so just knowing that I am one step closer to just being an attorney and being able to assist other people is really rewarding, because part of why I do the things that I do is being able to use whatever privilege I have to be better for other people, right? So how am I using my education? How am I using the fact that I'm bilingual? How am I using the fact that I'm very outspoken and aggressive in a lot of ways, right? How is that helping other people to just be, just have more access to things?
So that's your biggest award, helping people, and reward, helping others.
I mean, yeah, I try to help, I guess, when I can, if I can, which is fascinating because I studied sociology, which is the study of people and society and how we interact with other people.
And it helps you when you become a lawyer, how to deal with people, to approach cases, or to approach people in general.
Yeah. And
so your parents should be very proud of you.
I hope so.
They
yeah,
are.
And so, I mean, yeah, being able to do all of that is I think,
it's wonderful.
Something I'm very proud of, yeah.
So your job at CARE is to actually help the Arab Muslim people mostly to have you educate them on their rights and how to be fully engaged in all aspects of civic life. Mm-hmm. So how anybody can apply for a job like this?
Yeah, so our CARE website is a really great resource. Like you were mentioning, we have 4 chapters in California. So we have Sacramento, San Francisco Bay Area, San Diego, and Los Angeles. And so our website has a lot of information about our upcoming events, ways to donate, ways to get involved, requests for community engagement and things of that nature. So applying for jobs at this time, I think we might have some openings in the upcoming year. and so just having, just knowing that those exist, or at least being in contact, volunteering is a really great way to also kind of get your foot in the door. We do have outreach opportunities
So
when we do
anybody
Juma on
can
Friday.
volunteer?
Yeah,
What
anyone.
kind of training they offer for volunteers?
So the great thing is that with our office, there's always a lot of things that need extra hands. And so one of them being Juma outreach volunteers on Fridays, to hand out flyers or to, let people know about care. Recently we had our annual banquet, which was our largest banquet of the year on December 3rd, or excuse me, December 3rd. December 3rd, December 9th.
Anyone?
I'm sorry, I think it's December 9th. December 9th,
My daughter told me,
yeah,
she attended and she said it was a great success.
Yeah, we had Linda Sarsour, Representative Omar Ilhan, sorry, and so they were really great to have, and we were just uniting the community, and so we had a lot of volunteers there at that event, and it was just great to have a lot of extra hands, and so we always have room for more volunteers.
Wanna know what's your dream at the end? What's your goal? What do you dream of?
Yeah, so I think long term I want to be a judge eventually.
Wow.
I don't know what that will look like or how long that'll take or what path to take, but yeah.
Wonderful. So next time we would call you Your Honor.
Perhaps, maybe.
In the near future?
In the future, yeah.
In the future.
Yeah.
We wish you the best, Sally.
Thank you so
We're
much.
so happy to have you.
Thank
Sally,
you.
it's great having you. You're a good speaker too.
Thank you so
and
much.
Wish you the best in front of the judge.
Thank you. Well, one day.
You're gonna win a lot of cases.
I appreciate that.
Hopefully we won't need you.
Well, she's
Yeah,
doing-
let's hope you don't need me,
She's doing
but
an
I'm
amazing
here.
job helping the Muslim Arab people.
Yeah, they need people like you, Sally.
Yes, we're gonna have to end the show.
Uh-huh.
The time went by very fast.
Yeah, very quickly.
Thank you so much
Yeah,
for
of
coming.
course.
Thanks
Thank
for
you.
your coming.
Of course,
You wanna
thank
say
you.
goodnight?
Good night to everyone.
I wanna wish everybody Happy New Year.
Happy
Good
New
night.
Year to
Thank
all.
you for being with us.
Bye.
Good night.